Hello, it's with a great deal of pleasure that I circulate this slideshow to you because it starts to introduce you to our reintegration of students back into Colchester Academy. So it makes our community whole again. There are a number of things that we need to cover to make sure that our transition back to full-time at the Academy is smooth and to make sure that we maintain the standards and expectations that we had with you prior to the lockdown period. You'll have all seen this slide, and it's important that we go through and just explain to you again this consistency and the standards that the staff and you as students expect from the school. I'll talk a little bit more about uniform when we get into the next slide, but a couple of big no-nos here are the hoodies. There are to be no hoodies worn in school, okay, and also the mobile phones. We are still a school where mobile phones are not to be used and should not be seen. The Be Kind hashtag there is quite simple. We've all been through quite a bit, okay, some a lot more than others. But we need to respect each other's community and make sure that we do look after each other, to make sure that we are kind in the ways that we act and in the things that we do. The bottom picture there shows you and just refreshes your memories on the bubbles that we had in the areas. Now, this one shows you your break time bubbles. So obviously year 7 and 8 are inside the AstroTurf areas. Okay, remember when we line up in the mornings, when we arrive on that first morning back in school, we will line up in our form classes. So the 7s will be in front of AstroTurf. The year 8s will be on the football pitch that's marked out. There's a small one on the playground just by the PLA. And the year 9, 10, 11 will line up in their normal area. We will be very, very strict on the first one back because we need to set a standard and we need to keep consistency. So it's important that when you arrive in school, you go straight to your form class and you line up in your alphabetical order. And we will be speaking a little more about masks, but we will be expecting you to be wearing your mask at this point when you are lined up. You'll also notice when you return that we actually now, where the painted lines are, slightly different in the year 11 area, we now actually have permanent fencing that has been placed in rather than the stakes and plastic netting that we had before. Okay, so it allows us to make sure we've marked out our bubbles and we are consistent in our approach of making sure that every student stays in their respective bubble. As we mentioned with uniform, okay, the expectations of uniform are still exactly the same. Okay, it's important that we return in full school uniform. Where there are discrepancies, where there are problems, we must have this information from your parents and carers, okay, in the form of a written letter, okay, informing us about issues that you might be having with your uniform. Okay, your year manager and also your form tutor will be checking your uniform when we first line up. And I have just today asked all staff to ensure that they check at the start of each lesson that your uniform is correct and that we keep that standard nice and high. We appreciate that shops have been closed to get uniform, and we appreciate that some of you will have changed size during and grown during the time that you've been away, because we haven't seen you for some time. So trousers might be a little bit short, okay, blazers and shirts might be a little bit short on the sleeves. So we will be considerate in the situation, but we'll also support you in making sure you have the correct uniform. Okay, so please, if you are going to have issues between now and your return to school, could your parents please contact your respective head of year so we can discuss the situation. Once in school, and it's the guidelines that are still around nationally, okay, we must make sure that we look after ourselves. Okay, so you look after yourself, which means in turn you will look after everybody else. Therefore, we will always have a 2-meter social distancing rule. Okay, masks will be worn in the lineup, so when you line up for your lesson, okay, and also whenever inside the building, and this also includes during your lesson time. All right. You are to wash or sanitize your hands on the entrance and exit to each classroom, and we will provide gels for you. We appreciate that some gels might aggravate some certain conditions, and we are dealing with that situation and looking into that. Okay, but it's important that you keep yourself safe by making sure that you take care of your hand cleanliness, you cover your face, and you respect your space and the space of others. Obviously, if you do show any symptoms, okay, you do not attend school. Okay, instead you get yourself tested, okay, and then follow the procedures as you would do normally and through government guidance. Standards of lessons had become really good prior to the lockdown, okay, and we're looking at removing all barriers to learning. Okay, we are looking at making sure that we strive for excellence in every single lesson and we are disruption free. In order to facilitate that, we have our behaviour for learning policy in the classroom. You will all be aware of this. This is just a refresher for you and also with the staff today. You will be given your warning if you are disrupting a lesson. That should be more than enough for you to get back on task and back to your learning. If you fail to do that, okay, we will then look at the move, and failing that, if there's a third need to speak to you about your behaviour, you will be removed from the classroom and taken to the on-call room. That will lead to a detention after school of 45 minutes. Now, on the day of your detention, which will be on the day of removal from the classroom, you will sit a detention with the member of staff supervising the room, but the teacher who set you that detention will come and join you for a restorative conversation. If that restorative conversation goes well, you will have your detention time reduced, but you will also sign a slip, which you'll see in a second, which says that you've had that conversation, that you understand what the situation was, and that you will put that right. That then means that we start the next lesson with no problems and nothing hanging over you. So just to run through the restorative slip conversation here, so have your name and the date it took place, the period or the lesson where you got your detention, and the subject and the teacher. You and the teacher will then sign that to say that you've had that restorative conversation. Okay. Your teacher will then go and phone home and speak to your parents or carers to discuss the fact that they had to remove you and that they've had the conversation with you. That will be then logged on your class charts so that we have a record of it, and that's that situation dealt with. Okay, it's important we clear up these situations on the day they occur. The rewards point system remains as is, and we've had some amazing accumulation of points over the lockdown period, okay, where we actually have a number of students now in the academy who have reached their platinum award. With this in mind, I have created another award, okay. Now, in order to reach this, you need to get to 750 points, okay, and this is the Principal's Award. So Mrs. Betts' award, okay, the Principal's Award, where you'll receive a certificate and a badge from the principal, okay, and the recognition that comes with that. As I've said, we have all been here already this year, and we understand the expectations of us within school. Okay, when you come in on the first day and you attend your first registration period, we will go through the process for ordering lunches. There will be an opportunity to order a hot lunch each day, and your teacher, your form tutor, will have the menu for you, informing you of what lunch is that day. On the Monday, you will order your food for the week, and it could be the hot option or a cold option. We really look forward to having the community back to how it should be. Okay, we really look forward to hearing the corridors and the classrooms full of students and learning taking place within the academy. We need to support you, and you need to support us in making sure that that is an effective and a productive situation. Okay, we look forward to welcoming you back. You will have received an awful lot of information about testing, about the procedures for returning, and your dates for returning. And should you or your parents have any questions, please do not hesitate to contact the school, either through the front office or through your year manager. Thank you very much.